There is a specific kind of wealth that is learned to be invisible, not modest, not humble, invisible by design across generations. It does not drive the newest car on the block. It does not live at the loudest address in the neighborhood. It does not announce itself at dinner or on social media or anywhere at all. And then something shifts. A property record surfaces. An estate settles publicly. A name appears on a decades-old university endowment 3 states away. And the people who thought they knew this family have to recalibrate everything. The question is never why they hid it. The question is how the system works. Because what looks like concealment is actually architecture, a set of structures built over time. Every behavior, every habit, every social reflex serves a single long-term goal: preserve capital, compound quietly, transfer intact. This episode is about how that system operates and what it looks like from the outside. The first layer of the system is not financial, it is verbal. Generational wealth develops a specific vocabulary, and the vocabulary is a signal to those who know how to read it. The word rich never appears. Comfortable does. Fortunate does. We have been lucky does. These are not performances of modesty. They are the internalized result of being raised in an environment where naming wealth directly was considered a lapse in judgment. Conversations lean institutional rather than transactional. The topic is where someone studied, which families they have known for decades, which causes they have quietly supported. What something cost is never mentioned. What something represents is all that matters. The language around time is particularly revealing. There is an assumed continuity, a layered history taken completely for granted. Phrases like, "before the trust was restructured," or "my grandfather's partnership," carry the weight of decades without advertising them. This is categorically different from how households that built wealth recently talk about their past. The continuity itself becomes the signal. In these social settings, asking someone what they do for work is mildly awkward. Asking what they earn is simply not done. Financial position is known through other means: institutional affiliation, family name, long relationships, insider pattern recognition. To ask directly is to reveal you are outside the code, and these families notice immediately when someone is. The second layer is the environment they inhabit, and it is almost perfectly calibrated to look unremarkable to the wrong audience. The house sits in an established neighborhood, not the newest development, not the flashiest street. It is well maintained, solidly built, quietly significant to anyone who knows the area's history, invisible to anyone who does not. What outsiders miss is the lot size, the age of construction, the provenance of the address itself. Inside, the furniture does not match. It has not been coordinated by a single decorator working from a single budget. There is a table from a grandmother's house, chairs that were reupholstered once and will be reupholstered again before they are ever replaced. Art collected slowly over decades, or inherited, or given by someone whose name means something to a narrow circle. The overall effect is layered and slightly eccentric. 3 generations of actual decisions rather than one purchase event. The cars in the driveway are older and clean. A 12-year-old vehicle with high mileage and a full service history. Replacing something that still functions well conflicts with a deeply held value around stewardship. The car is not a status signal. It is transportation that has been properly maintained. What is almost never present is a leased vehicle. Leasing is paying indefinitely for the illusion of ownership, and that arrangement is philosophically incompatible with how these families think. The vacation property reveals the most. A coastal house held since the mid-20th century, a mountain cabin bought cheaply and now worth something significant. These locations were not chosen for current prestige. They were chosen for privacy, for repetition, for the specific quality of being somewhere the family has always been. The value of those places has compounded quietly alongside everything else the family holds. In a room, generational wealth has a recognizable presence, not because of what it does loudly, but because of what it never needs to do at all. People who are still establishing their position spend social energy talking about themselves. People with nothing to prove spend it asking about others. The questions are specific, curious, and patient. Details from prior conversations are remembered and referenced without effort. This is not performed social grace. It is the natural behavior of someone who is not using the interaction to climb. The emotional register stays level in any environment. An expensive restaurant, a modest kitchen, a crowded community hall. The setting is genuinely secondary. This kind of ease cannot be performed consistently. It comes from decades of moving through many different environments with nothing at stake either way. Connections are made quietly, without announcement and without expectation of credit. A word in the right ear, an introduction suggested over a quiet dinner. The network is vast, but it never looks like networking. There is no LinkedIn announcement, no public facilitation, no visible ledger being kept. Children's names are remembered. Career changes are tracked. Birthdays are acknowledged across a wide circle. This is not sentiment. It is the maintenance of social infrastructure built over decades. Invitations are declined gracefully and without lengthy explanation. A warm, brief response and a genuine alternative. No performance of guilt, no over-apologizing. This pattern reads as the behavior of someone who understands the value of their time and does not need external validation of that understanding. Beneath the behavior is a specific psychology, a set of internal beliefs about what money is and what it is for. Price is not absent from consideration, but it is never the first question, and it is rarely the loudest one. The primary questions are whether something is well made, whether it will last, and whether it aligns with what the family actually values. Price anxiety, the specific background worry about whether something is within reach, is a middle-class experience. These families understand it intellectually. They do not carry it. The time horizon is genuinely different. Middle-class financial planning typically extends 5 to 10 years. Generational wealth plans across 50. The question is not what this asset is worth today. It is what condition it will be in when it passes to the next person who holds it. A market downturn is not a crisis inside this framework. It is a pattern that has occurred before, will occur again, and historically rewards those who had the patience and liquidity to wait. Specific financial figures are treated as private information in the same category as medical records. The number is never shared outside the family's immediate advisory circle. Trends receive polite, passing interest and nothing more. Whatever sector is generating excitement at any given moment is observed from a distance by people who have watched prior versions of the same cycle complete themselves. The strategy does not change because the conversation at dinner changed. The advisors are long-standing, the plan is deliberate, and short-term enthusiasm is simply not a sufficient reason to move. Philanthropy operates on the same principles. The giving is substantial and almost entirely invisible. Endowed programs, family foundation grants, contributions that arrive without press releases or naming ceremonies. Recognition is not the goal. Impact is. And the family's relationship with certain causes often stretches back further than any living member can personally remember. The most consequential transfer in generational wealth is not the financial one. It is the transfer of a specific relationship with money itself. Children in these households grow up knowing the family is comfortable. They do not know the number. The specific figures, the trust balance, the real estate values, are withheld deliberately until the child is old enough to be shaped by them rather than destabilized by them. The goal is to produce a capable, grounded person first. The heir comes later, and only when the person is ready for what that means. Work comes before resources. Summer employment, responsibility for family property, early exposure to the complexity of managing things. The logic is precise. Someone who has never managed a small amount cannot be trusted to steward a large one. The preparation is considered non-negotiable, regardless of what the trust eventually contains. The language used around wealth inside these households centers stewardship, not ownership. The assets belong to the family across time. No individual within a single generation holds them outright. You are the current steward. Your role is to pass what you received in better condition than you found it. That framing changes the relationship to inherited wealth entirely. The contrast is instructive. A household that centers financial conversation on accumulation produces a different inheritor than one that centers preservation and continuity. The first tends towards spending or high-risk speculation. The second tends toward patience and protection. This is not an accident of character. It is the direct result of what was taught and modeled across the years before any inheritance was transferred. The behavioral and psychological layers rest on a legal and structural foundation that is almost entirely hidden from public view. Significant assets are almost never held in personal names. Real estate sits inside LLCs established decades ago. Investment portfolios are held within family trusts that predate the current generation's involvement. Business interests flow through holding companies. A search of public records tied to the family name turns up very little because the family name is rarely attached to the assets directly. The advisory relationships are treated as institutional. The same attorney for 30 years, the same financial advisor whose history with the family spans 2 generations, an accountant who holds the complete picture across every entity. These relationships transfer to the next generation as part of the inheritance itself. They are not personal service providers, they are structural infrastructure. Liquidity is maintained deliberately alongside long-term illiquid positions. There is always enough available capital to make decisions from a position of patience rather than necessity. When markets fall, these families do not need to sell. They can hold. They can wait. They can selectively acquire while others are forced to exit. This asymmetry, time as an asset available only to those who are not cash-constrained, is one of the most durable and least visible advantages generational wealth carries. Estate planning is treated as a continuous process, not a document signed once and filed away. Structures are reviewed as laws change. Trust arrangements are updated as family circumstances evolve. The advisory team meets regularly to assess whether the current architecture still serves the family's long-term goals. The plan is never finished because the plan is never supposed to be finished. Every individual sign we have examined points back to the same architecture. This is not a collection of personality quirks. It is a coherent, multi-generational operating system built around a single organizing principle. Wealth is not a destination you reach. It is a responsibility you carry forward. The understated wardrobe, the older car, the layered interior of the family home. None of it is about frugality. It is about allocating attention and resources toward what endures rather than what signals. The long advisory relationships, the entity structure, the liquidity cushion, none of it is accidental. It is the result of deliberate planning across decades, reviewed and updated by each generation as it assumes stewardship. The way children are raised, the stewardship language, the work before resources. That is the mechanism by which the system reproduces itself without depending on any single individual to carry it. The system does not require extraordinary people. It requires people who have internalized an extraordinary framework for thinking about time, capital, and continuity. What is most significant about this system is not that it exists. It is that its underlying logic is entirely separable from the generational starting point. The framework is available to anyone who chooses to adopt it. The discipline, the time horizon, the structural thinking, the stewardship framing. None of these require inherited capital to begin. The question is not whether you have access to a trust established decades ago. The question is whether you are building something that the next version of your family will still benefit from. That shift in how you frame your own financial life, from accumulation to stewardship, from "this is mine" to "this is something I am holding forward," is where the system actually begins. What this episode has mapped is not wealth as a number. It is wealth as a design. The visible signals are real, but they are the output of something deeper, a set of values that determine how money is held, structured, transferred, and taught. The behavioral patterns are not performances. They are the natural expression of people who have internalized a specific relationship with capital that was modeled for them from childhood. The structural patterns are not accidents. They are the deliberate choices of families who engaged seriously with the question of how to build something that outlasts any single lifetime. The psychological patterns are not arrogance. They are the earned calm of people who stopped needing external validation of their financial positions several generations ago. What any of this means practically is that the principles are learnable. The framework does not require a historical starting point to adopt going forward. You can begin holding assets in structures rather than personal names. You can begin maintaining liquidity as a strategic reserve rather than spending to the edge of what you earn. You can begin thinking about the financial decisions you make today in terms of what they will mean to the people who come after you, not just what they mean to you this year. You can begin treating your advisory relationships as long-term institutional infrastructure rather than transactional services to be replaced when something cheaper appears. You can begin raising the next generation with the language of stewardship rather than the language of acquisition, teaching them to think of inherited resources as a responsibility first and a privilege second. None of this requires a family name that carries institutional weight. It requires a decision about what you are actually building and a framework serious enough to carry that intention forward across time. The families who built these systems did not begin with everything already in place. They began with a philosophy. The structures followed.